Hello everyone, Mocap here. The film begins with Dr. Louise Banks speaking to someone. We see Louise with her daughter Hannah at various stages of her life, from her birth to her death at a young age from a fatal disease, presumably cancer. Louise is a language professor and linguist. When the students' phones go off, she begins her lecture to a small class. One student requests that Louise turn on the news. It has been reported that massive extraterrestrial vessels have touched down in at least 12 locations around the world. Colonel Weber pays Louise a visit in her office the next day and asks her to use her linguistic skills to communicate with the aliens. Weber arrives in a helicopter late at night to accompany Louise to the base. She joins them and meets Ian Donnelly, a theoretical physicist. The team arrives at the Montana landing site, while the other 11 locations around the world have bases set up and are constantly updating each other on progress. Louise, Ian, and others are taken to the top of the pod, where the lack of gravity allows them to stand in front of the glass-like barrier that keeps the aliens at bay. Two aliens appear. They are shrouded in mist and resemble large tentacled creatures. Louise tries to communicate with them by writing human on a piece of paper. One of the creatures releases a black cloud in the shape of a circular symbol. Louise bravely removes her hazmat suit in an attempt to gain their trust. She presses her palm against the barrier. In imitation of Louise's gesture, one of the creatures extends a limb and presses it against the barrier. After removing his hazmat suit, Ian decides to call the two aliens as Abbott and Costello. Tensions are rising across the country as uncertainty about the heptapods' intentions has sparked panic, causing people to loot and riot. As the sessions progress, the team records the symbols produced by the heptapods in order to determine which symbols are translations of the words that Louise has been teaching them. When Louise touches them again, she begins to see visions of Hannah. General Shang of China does not trust the aliens and has his team deviate from the plan by ceasing communication of intelligence. Louise begins to have dreams in the alien language while recalling Hannah as a child, showing Louise a drawing of her parents in a TV show she made up. Hannah asks Louise if her father's departure is her fault, but Louise assures her that it is not. In the present, Louise questions the aliens about the identity of this girl. The aliens deliver a message that translates to use weapon, causing even more tension among the other sites. The Chinese issue an ultimatum to the aliens to leave within 24 hours or the military will launch a strike. Several other sites prepare to do the same thing, while the sites themselves disconnect. Louise informs Weber that they must ensure the aliens understand the distinction between a weapon and a tool. Louise and Ian enter the vessel on their own, unaware that some of the soldiers have planted a C4 bomb inside. Abbott begins to create a message with hundreds of tiny, scattered symbols as they attempt to communicate with the heptapods. Abbott drops Louise and Ian from the vessel as the bomb is about to detonate. Both are unconscious and neither is seriously injured. Louise awakens in base camp after suffering a minor concussion. With a strike imminent, she and Ian race to decipher Abbott's message. Ian deduces that many of the symbols for time are scattered, but he is unsure what they all mean. Agent Halpern then informs the others of the gravity of the situation, citing reports that Russia has executed one of their own in order to keep their intelligence secret. Louise rushes toward the ship, which dispatches a small pod to transport her up to the ship. She runs into Costello, who informs her that Abbott is dead as a result of the explosion. Costello emits more black symbol smoke, prompting Louise to recall Hannah once more. Costello then assists Louise in realizing that the heptapods' language is intended to be a tool for them, rather than a gift to humans. They can see into the future by understanding their language. It is revealed here that all of Louise's memories of her daughter Hannah were flash-forwards rather than flashbacks. Costello explains that they were sent to teach humans their language so that the aliens could help them in 3,000 years. 18 months later, Louise and Shang will meet face to face, and he will express gratitude for her work and efforts, which ultimately convinced him of the aliens' true intentions. Louise borrows Halpern's satellite phone and dials Shang's personal number. She and Ian seclude themselves as she attempts to send a message in which she tells Shang his wife's dying words. The Chinese military decides to stand down as reports from around the world begin to pour in. All of the vessels rise from the ground and disappear into a cloudy mist. Louise and Ian stand by and watch them walk away. The best part of the whole thing, according to Ian, wasn't meeting the aliens, but meeting Louise. Louise then has more visions of herself with Hannah, but this time Ian is present. They are to marry and eventually become parents to Hannah. In the present, Louise and Ian embrace, and she tells him she has forgotten how it feels to be held by him. As a movie recap channel, we thank you for being a part of our community. Stay tuned for more exciting content.